stop it. I say cease and desist. You see, give these people their own identities. Cease and desist. Comparisons. When I hear seasoned, like the elite of the elite, August Wilson actors that are living. Some of them I know, and some of them you don't know, and they make these comparisons to Shakespeare. I wince for them.
What's up? What's up? What's up, my people? It's been a minute. I know it's been a minute. I've been doing a lot of things. I got a lot of stuff cooking, got a lot of stuff done. But I got some stuff to talk about, some stuff to tell you. So I'm back. If you don't know, if this is your first time tuning into this channel, I am Joseph Ward, the founder, author, and creator of On the Shoulders of Giants. And On the Shoulders of Giants is your home for Black history, where I tell the stories of the sung and unsung heroes of the African diaspora. Information you did not learn in school or for some people anywhere else. And this may be your first time learning this type of information, but hey, hop on board because I got you. I promise you I got you a whole lot of information for you on Black history. And I got some announcements. On the Shoulders of Giants, Volume 4, The Caribbean. It's available now. I'm gonna come back to this because I still got to get my intro on. So like I said, we tell the stories of the sung and unsung heroes of the African diaspora here on the Shoulders of Giants, and I do my best to introduce you to the cultures and the cultures of the African diaspora. And I really want to make sure that people understand that African people existed all over the planet. We are global people, and my series highlights that. Now, I focus mainly on individuals and cultures as well. Don't necessarily get into the mythologies and other things like that. That's not necessarily my particular lane. I may branch into that at other times or when need be, but I want to make sure, I like to make sure I tell you about the people who was in the area and the cultures of the people, and doing more digging and learning more things and finding out that African people have populated the globe and civilized the globe, right? So any way you could think of on Earth, I learned about African people, being the first people in Africa and being the first people to have a civilization in Africa, the first people to be in Europe, the first people to civilize Europe, the first people to be in Asia, the first people to civilize Asia, the first people to be in the South Pacific, and the first people to civilize the South Pacific. Different migrations of African people going out at different times, doing these things over the world. Even in the Americas, African people, first people in the Americas, brought civilization to the Americas, and especially to the Caribbean. And that's when we get to my book, On the Shoulders of Giants, Volume 4, The Caribbean, right? So we're talking about African people over time, and then other cultures coming out of the original African people who settled in those areas, especially around this time where we're picking up in the Caribbean. Talking after African people have intermingled with the Mongolian people, the Asiatic people coming over the Bering Strait, and being able to mingle with those people, intermarry, breed, all those different things. It's a lot of different cultural and ethnic mixing that may have happened throughout the Americas, especially in the Caribbean, which we're mainly focusing on. So what we do know is there are cultures in the Caribbean. The Arawak is a name that the European gave the people, the Taino. But there are a number of ethnicities and cultures of people in the Caribbean. Now, the main two that I focus on in this book are the Arawak. I focus on the Arawak, but specifically the Taino and the Kalinago. So the Taino, I say like this. And I talk about this in the book. Arawak is a European term that was given to the Taino and the Kalinago, as well as the term Carib. So from my understanding, the term Carib is a derogatory negative term because Columbus saw the Kalinago and other people that they described as Carib people as warring or warlike people, meaning they wasn't taking that from Columbus. You heard me? They wasn't rocking with Columbus. They was like, hey, man, you come down here, you're gonna have to scrap. You're gonna have to knuckle up, cuz. You heard me? And so that's what it was with Columbus and them. So that's how they got the names. The Carib, that's how the Kalinago and other people described as Carib got the title the Carib. And the Arawak was just a general umbrella term that a lot of those other names or other groups of people that they just fit up under that for their own sake. You know how European folk do. But I'm talking about those people in their existence before, during, and after European contact. Now, one of the cool things about the Carib, the Taino culture, or the Kalinago culture is a while ago, I found the story about a queen, a Taino queen, Anacaona. The island of Haiti at the time, Ayeti at the time, the name of it. And we're talking about the indigenous people, and she was amongst the first to encounter, you know, the Europeans when they arrived, and amongst the first to defend her island and her people and their culture and their way of living against the Europeans. So talking about that, she was regarded as a phenomenally beautiful woman. I think if I remember correctly, the name Anacaona means golden flower. She was revered for her brilliance and her tact, just the way she brought grace to the throne, because she was a queen. She was a fair person. She was looked at and regarded as somebody that you could look up to, somebody that you would want to follow as a leader. And she was a badass too. She was out there fighting. She wasn't running or looking for nobody else to defend her people. She was out there fighting and defending her people and delegating with her people and creating treaties and, you know, doing all that with Europeans, because she was a valuable asset to her people. So talk about that in the book. I also talk about a Taino man from the island of Cuba, as we know it now, named Hathaway, who was also some of the early people to fight the Europeans and defend their land against the Europeans who come to invade and take over, because, you know, they was trying to get to Asia. So that's interesting. So one of the things that I did learn after the book was published, some additional information that I can talk about is one of the things that the Europeans wanted to get to Asia for was to get into the spice trade, to cut into the spice trade, because one of the main reasons for the transatlantic slave trade, especially Spain and Portugal and a lot of the other European nations to follow, was they were trying to build Europe back up. Europe wasn't the world. The European countries that we see as world powers now, they wasn't those world powers at the time. And they needed the economics to help them build themselves up as world powers. So they like, oh man, well, we got to do something. But Columbus getting lost and going into the Caribbean, that led to what we know, to Europe becoming what we know it now, and the transatlantic slave trade happened and all these different things. But that also led to history unfolding the way it unfolding. And now you have a population of African people from various African countries throughout the African continent who reside in the Caribbean and in the various Caribbean islands. And so out of all the great people, because there are a lot of great people to pick through. Some I know about, some I don't even know about. I'm not even going to act like I know it all, but I did do a great deal of research. So I found 18 people that I wanted to talk about in this book. So I did include Anacaona and Hathaway in the book. So I talk about the Taino people. I talk about Queen Anacaona. I talk about Hathaway. I talk about Queen Nanny of the Maroons. I talk about Samuel Sharp, Elmer Francois, Maurice Bishop, Tante Toya or Victoria Montal. Now I'll get back to her in a minute. Henry Sylvester Williams, Brieful, Ami Cesar, Queen Okua, aka Cuba Cornwallis, C.L.R. James. And I tell you how I learned about C.L.R. James. Celia Cruz, France Fanon, Carlota Lucumi, Paul Bogle, J.A. Rogers, the Honorable Marcus Moselle Garvey, and the Kalinago people. So those are the 18 chapters. So one of the stories that I really want to tell. So I talk about Victoria Montal, Tante Toya, Aunt Toya, various names that they call her, and C.L.R. James. And I'll tell you about those two people real quick. So I'll do C.L.R. James first. So, you know, the regular videos that I normally publish on this channel that I put out, while I'm telling the various stories of various people throughout the world. But when I would come across a number of stories of people who represent various Caribbean cultures, or various Caribbean islands rather, and then I would come across people, Black people, African people who put in work in the UK, and even some people in the US. But for a while, I would come across people who either encountered a man named C.L.R. James, worked with a man named C.L.R. James, or was inspired by a man named C.L.R. James. And so I'm like, well, who is C.L.R. James? And what did this man do? And I guess one of the reasons, this country is hell, but one of the reasons why the name C.L.R. stood out in my head is because, you know, I grew up in a household, my parents were neat freaks, especially my mom's was a neat freak. And one of the things she used to use to clean up in the bathroom was that C.L.R. cleaner, that calcium lime rest. And, you know, I'm used to seeing that jug and smelling C.L.R., the cleaning product. So C.L.R. James, I was like, I can't forget that name because it's C.L.R. But then an intellectual, a Pan-Africanist, an author, a writer, a speaker, I understand now why he was so influential. A number of Pan-Africanists that we know of, or that we learned about, and even some who exist today, were greatly influenced by C.L.R. James. Now, I don't want to quite give it away because you got to read the story. You have to get the book. You have to get the book, On the Shoulders of Giants, Volume 4, The Caribbean. You have to get the book to really get what I'm saying about C.L.R. James. But a Trinidadian, shout out to Trinidad, shout out to all the Caribbean islands, man. Shout out to the whole Caribbean too. But a man who was able to use his pen and his voice and use the English language to get African people and Black people alike to understand who they are, their greatness, where they come from, and how we can use all of those elements to become the best versions of ourselves, but to create the greatest realities for ourselves, right? Yeah, brilliant, man. That's one of the greatest things. That's one of the things I love about this new book is a lot of the scholars that I wrote about, brilliant people. They've been brilliant all of their lives, and C.L.R. James is no exception. So, you know, like I said, I don't want to give it away too much, right? But make sure you get the book, On the Shoulders of Giants, Volume 4, The Caribbean, right? So also Tante Toya, Victoria Montal, Aunt Toya. So Originally, when I was picking out the characters for the book, and I was thinking, like, all right, who I want to write about in this volume, like volume 4, you know, I got to come hard in volume 4. I did, you know, I did good in volumes 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3. And so I'm like, all right, man, volume 4 got to be busting, though. You know, I got to come hard in volume 4. So I'm thinking about who I want to feature, because some people I already knew. You know, I already knew off top CLR James was going to be in there. Off top, I already knew Marcus Garvey was going to be in there. Off top, I already knew Maurice Bishop was going to be in there. Off top. So those like 3 people off top that I knew was going to be in the book. But everybody else, I was like, we're going to kind of figure it out through research. And I wanted to learn more about the women of the Haitian Revolution at the same time. Now, this is before I learned about Mama Baiana Bello, though. This is when I originally started getting my information together or piecing together my ideas for the book. I didn't know who Mama Baiana Bello was. So so I'm getting my characters together, and I come across a story of a woman who is said to have taught Jean-Jacques Dessalines how to fight, how to battle, how to go into war, you know, how to be the man that he is. You know, she contributed to his upbringing. So I get this story, and I get my references, and I get my links and everything, and I kind of save it. So, so a few months go by, and I do a StreamYard recording with Dr. Latasia Jones and Dr. Bootman. And so I was in charge of talking about Ya Asante, while Dr. Bootman was in charge of talking about Tante Toya. And so as he talking, I'm like, man, the name sound for me. The name sound for me. Because it's been some months since I had my original list of people that I want to talk about in my book. And I didn't quite remember the name, because the original name that I had written down, I ain't even gonna lie, I couldn't pronounce. I couldn't pronounce for nothing in the world. And I couldn't find nothing to help me pronounce. So I was like, I'm gonna just write it down then, shoot. So I write the name. I have her name down, the original name. I still can't pronounce it to this day. So Dr. Bootman just pronouncing it like he a G, like, oh, just flexing this linguistic skills, and I'm sitting over there still stumbling, right? So it clicks like 2 weeks after the recording. It clicks. Oh man, that's the same person. He gave information about Aunt Toya. So shout out to Dr. Bootman and Dr. Latasia Jones, because that really helped Dr. Bootman. He really helped me with getting information about Tante Toya, because I was able to go back and, you know, and reference some of that stuff and help jog my memory and go find some more information, right? So Tante Toya, real live woman, she literally did, it's true, she did. She helped train Jean-Jacques Dessalines. When Dessalines' mother died, she stepped in and raised him. And one thing she taught him was how to fight and defend himself, amongst other things. And like I say, I ain't gonna go all the way in, because you got to read the book. Got to read the book. Real good book. Real good book. It's twice the size of my first couple books. My first 3 books. It's twice the size of those. How many pages? 93 pages. Like I say, 20 chapters, 93 pages. And shout out to the people, because this is the cover that the people chose. Now, I wanted to do something different with this volume. I wanted to make sure that the people knew about it way before I put it out. And I wanted to get you all's input in the book. So thank you to everybody who had input on this cover, making this cover happen. I ain't gonna front this cover kind of hard. It is hard though. It is hard. So also about the cover, I found out that the creator of the cover, unfortunate news, I found out that the creator of the cover of especially volumes 2, 3, and volume 4, I found out that Mr. Larry Spencer, he passed away. So shout out to Mr. Larry Spencer. Quick moment of silence for Mr. Larry Spencer. But I appreciate everything Mr. Spencer did for me. He turned out some good covers. He was easy to work with. He wasn't trying to hit me over the head with no prices and nothing like that. And you know, he kept it G. If I needed something changed, whatever, something fixed, he wasn't tripping about it. He would do it. You know, and he was able to help me bring ideas to life. And he also introduced new ideas, because this wasn't the cover that I would have went with. If I left it, if I didn't ask you all for your input and it was left up to me, this wouldn't be the cover. Because when I saw my choices of the covers, it was one of the top ones that caught my eye, but it wasn't the #1 that caught my eye. So I might come back with a special edition with the one that I like. But shout out to this, like I said, I ain't gonna lie, it's hard. Hey, this is hard though. This is hard. And so this is the back of the book. So I got a little description of the book on the back of the book. So, you know, you see the little spine going down. My man, Patrick Irvin, put it together for me. So shout out to Pat. Miss Barbara Jo Williams, she edited the book. So shout out to Miss Barbara Jo Williams. Yeah. Oh yeah, speaking of Miss Barbara Jo Williams, if you're an author in the Tallahassee area, the Big Bend area, any surrounding areas, you're a Black author, any type of author, you're an author, editor, writer, reader, critic, you just an avid book lover, check out the Tallahassee Author Network. Go to Facebook, and you can either look up and check out the Tallahassee Authors Network page, or check out Miss Barbara Jo Williams. She is the founder of the Tallahassee Authors Network. Get you connected to a whole bunch of great people to make sure your writing is live. And Miss Barbara Jo Williams, she edited the book, and another member of Tallahassee Authors Network, Miss Sylvia Thomas, she proofread the book. So shout out to Miss Barbara, shout out to Miss Thomas, shout out to Mr. Larry Spencer, shout out to Pat, everybody who helped me get this book done, and everybody who contributed to the cover of the book. Shout out to all y'all. Hey, man, it's going down. I feel good. I ain't even gonna front though. This is my 4th book, and I feel good about it. Now, I almost wasn't gonna put the book out. Yeah, I ain't gonna front, because you know how it is, man. I'm out here. I'm growing my platform, growing my channel, growing my network, doing my best to get my information out, and have not necessarily, just being real, but not been necessarily getting the response that I expected to get, especially in the beginning. But a lot of that had to do with ignorance, right? Because I didn't really understand the game. I didn't really understand how this business worked. But trial and error is a mug, though. I ain't even gonna front. Trial and error is a mug. So I had to get out of my feelings and get over myself, because some sales wasn't selling like I wanted to at some times, and you know, not getting the calls to do certain things, or the recognition that I felt I should get. But I had to learn that I had to get over myself. You know, our desires are the greatest result of our misery. And also, shit, if you ain't getting what you want to get, you need to get your ass up and go get it. So that's what I tell myself, and that's what I do. So that's why I try to make sure I continue to go hard. And like I said, damn that, I got over myself, and I got up and I got this book written, and I got it put together, and I got this book out. And it's available right now. So I feel good about it. So you see it at the bottom of the screen, www.ontheshoulders1.com. That's where you can get your copy. On the Shoulders volume, on the Shoulders of Giants volume 4, The Caribbean. Get your copy. Get your copy. I feel good about it. So you can do that. Yeah, so you know. Also, think about this. We're in a time where you know, we got the whole critical race theory thing going on, critical race theory being banned, but let's try to act like Black history wasn't something that was always hidden from us. Let's not act like this is something new. I know it's new for the new generation, but for those of us who've been around 2-3 decades or more, we understand that we didn't learn this type of information I'm giving out. Man, we ain't learned that type of information growing up. I sure didn't. So Martin Luther King, Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, Rosa Parks, I call them the big four. To me, those are the big four because those are the only 4 people we learned about. They would mention Malcolm X, but you know, we all know what it is. Malcolm was too real for him, you know. So since Malcolm was too real for him, we ain't really learned too much about Malcolm X. So there's a lot of people that we did not learn about that I've been able to learn about on my journey. So I would say my journey officially started in 2002, 2003, my freshman year in college. That's when my journey diving into my history, my culture, my information started, and the transformation started happening from me not knowing what I really wanted to do with myself to me figuring out that and growing into a historian and learning my information, because I spent before I even saw myself, even envisioned myself as a historian and somebody who can give historical information. I spent many years just reading books and studying, Like I got a library now of over 1,000 books, you know, because that's always been one of my dreams, one of my goals, one of my visions for myself. Have me a nice ass crib in the South, a whole bunch of land. Because I always wanted like a football-sized backyard, just a whole bunch of land. But one of the things in my house that I needed to have is a library. And so that's why I started collecting books, especially when I used to work at the Goodwill. Used to get, man, y'all won't believe some of the books I found at the Goodwill. Man, people be tripping. People be throwing away some valuable information. Look, I don't care. I ain't throwing away. Man, some of these books be valuable information. But anyway, so I built up a library for myself. And so my library is like over 1,000 books. So it's about 700-800 books that are physical books. And I keep buying down books. I just brought 2 more books. I just brought 2 Dr. Amos Wilson books, right? But about 700-800 books physical, about 200 to 300 books on my Kindle. So I got a whole bunch of books. Because I've always collected books and read books over the years. And then when I really learned the information that I can find on YouTube, because you know I've been around for a minute. I'm born in '84, so I'm in college when YouTube really pop off, right? And so I ain't gonna lie. In the beginning, we used to just be in there watching, you know, typical entertainment stuff, you know. We learned about what the twerk team was and was looking at the twerk team on YouTube and that It's So Cold in the D song and some other stuff that used to be done in the early days of YouTube. But we didn't really know what YouTube was until, because even back then in the early days of YouTube, even before that, getting together with me and my brother and some of the homies, we would get together, and this back when people had videos of like Dr. Ben, Dr. Clark, Dr. Rashidi, Dr. Savy, others. They had all our great scholars and educators. They had videos of them on VHS, like the VHS, the VCR tapes used to put in. So I used to watching them on the VCR tapes before I really discovered and understood what YouTube was. And then, you know, so I can sit here and watch lectures for like 8 hours straight. All right, because for me, especially when it ain't I like football, so you know. Everybody who know me know I like football. So especially when it's not football season, man, I don't really watch TV like that no more anyway. But, you know, I watch football. But other than that, you know, I had time to deep dive. So I'm deep diving all up in the information. I'm learning the information. I'm getting into it. I'm like, hell yeah. Like 8 hours straight, 9 hours straight, just sitting around, chilling, watching, learning, soaking up the information, learning from the scholars. Just masterful information. Like, the Dr. Clark lecture. We're always looking for friends. I'm paraphrasing. Like, we're always looking for friends. You want a friend? Damn it, look in the mirror. It's one of my favorites, right? Especially the debate Dr. Clark had with Mary Lefkowitz and the other buddy. And he told him, man, look, I only debate my equals. Anybody else, I teach. And he went to work, right? So looking at that, because what that did for me though, seeing, and even Bobby Hemmett lectures, like sitting there watching, Bobby Hemmett would go for 8-9 hours straight. So, but what that did for me was that changed my perception of what a historian is and can do, because I had no idea. At one point in my life, I had no idea these men existed. And even when I first learned that these men existed, I didn't wrap my mind around the concept of these are historians like that, because in my mind, if you taught history or you was a historian, you was a history teacher, either at like a high school or a college or something like that. And I never really wanted to work for somebody else. Never wanted that to be my goal. I never wanted something that I build for myself to be tied to somebody else. I always wanted to own everything. And I got that influence from, hip hop, from Luke, from what I learned about Luke owning his own way, Jay Prince owning his own way, what I learned about Jay-Z and Dan Dash on their own way, with Cash Money on their own way, and especially Master P on his own way. That stuff influenced me. I'm a hip hop head, so it influenced me growing up. So in my mind, I was like, I got to own my stuff. I got to be in 100% control of my stuff. Because if I'm in control of my stuff, then can't nobody take my stuff from me. Can't nobody profit off my stuff like me. If anybody gonna profit off of it, it might as well be me. So I want to own my own stuff. So that was one of the main things with doing everything that I do with this platform, is building something that is impactful, but also something that I can pass down. To, now I don't have any children. Now I'm working on that. I got to get me a wife first, but working on that too. But build something that's impactful, but also something that I can pass down. So when I'm learning about the civil rights heroes, or just heroes from Black history, one of the main things that I got from it is how selfless these people were, and how these people wanted to make change in a positive manner where they lived, in the environments, for their people, for the community, all that stuff. They wanted to help. They wanted the situation to be better when they left it, better than when they found it, basically. So help the situation improve, help my people improve, give back. And I always thought that we as Black people, we have an obligation to give back and uplift, because our ancestors did that. They did that for each other. They gave back and they uplifted. And not all of them, but the ones that we celebrate, right? But they did so much, and they made, a lot of them made ultimate sacrifices in giving their lives. And a lot of them lived for our people. And we need to start celebrating the people who lived for our people the same way we celebrate the people who died for our people. But they gave so much. So my perception was always, I need to make sure I'm giving back to my community. I need to make sure that my community is in a better place when I leave it than when I found it. What's my contribution? How can I make sure that my people have something for ourselves? History is something that I always enjoyed, right? I always tell people my favorite 3 classes all my life in school, except when I got to college, but all my life in school, my favorite 3 classes in this order were history, PE, and lunch. And yeah, we know lunch ain't no class. I know, but it was one of my favorite classes. It was a class to me because you didn't go to my high school. If you went to my high school, you understand it was a class. All right. So I always enjoyed learning history. History, that's my shit. That's my subject. Like I always learn history. I like history. I'm such a history nerd. Like I like football. I have to learn the history of football. I like hip hop. I have to learn the history of hip hop. Whatever I'm into, I have to learn the history of it. That's how much of a history nerd I am. I want to learn the history of history. That's how much of a history nerd I am. And it's so cool though. History be so live. And it's powerful. It's a powerful tool to have. It's a powerful tool to have. That's why others work so hard to make sure we don't know who we are. But we have to, one thing we got to stop doing is allowing other people to have that type of power over us. Nobody can stop us from learning our own damn stories but us. We are allowing other people to hold us back. We're allowing ourselves. Okay, they don't want to teach you in the schools. Teach it at the house. If y'all can get together and do all the other stuff that's not productive, because we all do it. We can all get together and do some unproductive stuff. We can get together, go learn some Black history. You're like, well, I don't know where to go to learn Black history. Yes, you do. www.ontheshoulders1.com, or check out this On the Shoulders of Giants YouTube channel. My channel is a great starter place. If you want to start learning some good Black history, my channel is the place. My platform is the place. On the Shoulders of Giants, Volume 4, The Caribbean. Get your copy. You don't have to worry about nobody talk about, well, I can't learn no history because they don't want to teach it in schools. They never taught it in the schools. But guess what? Ain't nobody stopping you from learning it on your own, and make sure you pass it down to your children, make sure your children have access to it. Matter of fact, I construct the videos on here in a certain way where it's entertaining to people of all ages. All you gotta do is check them out. On the Shoulders of Giants. Check it out. African history at your fingertips. Matter of fact, the global history of African people at your fingertips. All you gotta do is check it out. Can't nobody stop us from learning our history. We've been stopping ourselves for the longest because we just didn't do the work. Now, what I've also learned is there have been a great amount, excuse me, damn. There have been a great amount of historians throughout the years. A great amount. Check out this card right here where I'm talking about the heroes that you need to study. It's on one of these sides. Check out the card, right? Hit that link. Well, I'm giving you information about about historians that you should study. Historians you should study, right? John G. Jackson, Dr. John Henrik Clarke, Drusilla Dunjee Houston. I have a video on her, and I said Houston in the video, but I found out it's Houston. So Drusilla Dunjee Houston. Where's this book? Kaba Kamene. Professor William Leo Hansberry. Y'all make sure y'all get this book by Baba Kaba Kamene. Professor William Leo Hansberry. Got a video on him. Dr. Yusuf Ben Yakini. Check him out. Anthony T. Browder. Dr. Runoko Rashidi. Check out the videos I have with Dr. Rashidi on this channel. Who else I'm trying to think of just off the top of my head. I'm tripping. But you get my drift. There's information here, and we have people, Arthur Schomburg, right? People who did the work, who put in the work to make sure that the history is available. Edward Wilmot Blyton, William Steele writing books. People put in the work over the years. There's a number of historians, Black historians, African historians, who put their lives and their careers on the line to make sure we have this information. We have this information. We have it. We can access this information. Just use it. Just use it. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Once you start tapping into this information and using this information correctly, you're going to start loving who you are, loving your blackness, loving yourself. And it makes you love black people and want to be the best version of yourself for black people. And yeah, we know everybody's not on board, but get on board with the people who's on board. Right? I mean, the job ain't to save everybody, but the job is to create something that can impact everybody. That's what we're doing here on the Shoulders of Giants. So that's my time. I'm gonna wrap it up because I don't want to just keep talking and rambling. Because I don't want to get too rambling. Because I said everything that I want to say, got some things out, and I might start doing stuff like this, just keeping it real sessions. I might start doing these. I put it like this. I wanted to make sure I tell y'all about my book, but I just started talking too. I didn't really know what the hell I wanted to say. So I just started keeping it real. So please do get your copy of my book on the Shoulders of Giants Volume 4 of the Caribbean. But if you dig me just keeping it real, just saying what's on my heart, what's on my mind, especially about this history, then we can have some more keeping it real sessions, some rap sessions, probably go live and do stuff like that too, to keeping it real. But just trying to see what's going on. Also, I got a couple new series in the work that's coming. Got something called Glorious Gumbo, a new series that's coming. So make sure you stay tuned for that. I'm gonna be dropping more information about that as the weeks go by. And I'm going to take you all on a journey with me as I learn more about the history of my family. Because I want to know, really want to know who the hell I am and where I come from and where my people come from. I also want to know if I have any ancestry that are connected to African people who are already here on the continent. Now, I already do believe that I have ancestry connected to people in Africa, but I want to know if I have ancestry connected to people who were already here. So I want to know who I am and where my people come from. So I'm gonna be diving in that. But I want to, y'all family though, man. I love y'all. Y'all family. Y'all look out for me. Y'all take care of me. Y'all support me. So I want to take y'all on that journey with me. But ultimately, like I say, leave a comment. I want y'all in the comments. Y'all let me know. More keep it real sessions. That's what I call it. Keep it real sessions. Where I'm just cutting on the camera, man, and just speaking from the heart. Because I love y'all, especially when we're talking about this history and making sure that we keep our community together, that actually help put our community back together. But I believe that us learning our history and reprogramming our minds will be one of the things that can really help us get to where we need to go and do what we need to do. Hey, man, I'm Joseph Ward. This is On the Shoulders of Giants. I love being black, and I love y'all too. And let's make sure we put in the work to be the best that we can be as individuals, but also put in the work to be the best that we can be as a collective. Because we can't do this thing by ourselves. We need each other. We were put here to be together. So all my black men, I love y'all. All my black women, I love y'all. Peace out.
Stop saying the black this, the black that. Stop it. I say cease and desist. You see? Give these people their own identities. Cease and desist. Comparisons. When I hear seasoned, like the elite of the elite August Wilson actors that are living. Some of them I know, and some of them you don't know, and they make these comparisons to Shakespeare. I wince for them.